Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I am doing fine. Good day yesterday. I hit my lock. Dallas over, Philadelphia Eagles over. I missed my other lock. I had New England, which won, and Cincinnati, which somehow blew the lead to the Jets and Fields in the last minute of the game. And that bet was because I bet against the Jets. Anyway, we see gold at 4,000. It was a big drop from 4,080. And then look at 8 o'clock down to 10 o'clock. And so the US is now buying at 4,000. Pretty good resistance at 4,000. It'll shoot back up. Silver 46.50, just bullshit. It's just paper. There's nobody selling. There's just paper options being sold. Why? A, for people to buy cheaper. B, to maybe get people into stocks, into bonds. Warren Buffett's stupid little piece. Well, they'll sell to get into bonds. The U.S. is broke. Nobody wants to buy the bonds. So if we put this bullshit out on gold and silver, maybe people will sell their physical and put it into bonds. And here's Warren Buffett saying his thing, which I think was done last year. And it's probably the stupidest thing. They think we're stupid. This is not going down because people are selling. So let's back up to the market. What causes prices to go up and what prices to go down? And in a market, let's say we're looking at a car. You want to buy a Camry. And it's 25,000. You go, oh yeah, I need a car, 25,000. That's a good price. But at 35,000, which is what happened at Toyota, at 35,000, it's too much. I don't want to buy it. So there's no demand at 35. The price, he can't sell any. The price lowers to 26. People then start coming in and buying. It's the right price. So what caused it to go down was no demand. Okay? Nobody wanted it. We can't sell it there. We drop it. Is that what's happening in gold and silver? There's no demand. It's just the opposite. There's huge demand. But keep in mind at the dealership, you're actually selling a car and you're coming in and buying the car. There's no options fucking around with the price. If there's no demand, the price simply goes up. Or if there's no demand, the price goes down because you can't sell it. And that's how a free market works. It's based on you're going to sell a good. Is there demand for the good? And if there is, then you can. If there's demand, you can raise the price to meet demand. Sorry about that. And if there's no demand, the price comes down. So if everybody wants a Camry or eggs or milk, if there's demand for the item, you can raise the price a little on it because somebody will buy it until you find the right price where people go, it's too high. So in the Camrys, I bought mine at 25,000. At 35, I would not have bought. All right. So they see no demand, they lower the price. My glasses got kicked by some idiot lifeguard walking on the ledge instead of on the floor. So with that said, why is gold going down? Is there no demand for it? Just the opposite. There's huge demand for it. Oh, wait. COMEX doesn't use physical prices. They play options. So it doesn't matter if people will buy it or not. That's not looked at on COMEX. It's just simply options. So Eddie Murphy's playing an option saying, I'm going to short gold. The problem is when gold goes back up, he's going to lose billions, which is what's happening with JP Morgan and Citi and Wells Fargo and any other of these gold bullion banks. They're going to lose their ass because when the price goes up, they're going to have to owe on it. But this is strictly paper. This is strictly options lowering the price, but not because there's no demand. On the contrary, there's huge demand. They're just fucking around. This isn't real. Silver 46.37 isn't real. We saw silver at 53. So there was demand to get it to 53, and now there's no demand for it. Are you kidding? You still have to get out of the dollar. This is the demand driver. This is worthless. You printed it to nothing. Nobody wants your bonds. Nobody wants your money. So I'm going to go into gold instead of holding this. So this is the trigger creating the demand for gold and silver. Well, this hasn't gone away. This is still broke. This is still heavily inflated, and this is still worthless. And there's nothing you can do to fix it. The only way you can fix this is to back it by gold. Then you can fix it, but you haven't done that. So the reason the gold price and silver price are down is because somebody wants to buy it and they want to buy it cheap. So they're manipulating through options the price to drop. Hoping you'll sell to get into treasuries, which nobody here is that stupid. Or we just go buy more gold at this cheap price, $39.92 right now. Big deal. It'll be back to 5,000 very soon. So this is the trigger causing demand for gold and silver. So therefore, the price should not be going down. It should be going up. And it went up to 4,400. I think it touched 4,400. It was definitely in the 43s. And no reason to stop. Why this price is lower, there's no reason. It's just Ponzi scheme. It's Madoff. It's I'm going to make money shorting it. No, you're not. Because the people buying it are going to ask for delivery. When they ask for delivery, you're going to have to come up with the gold to deliver, which you can't do because there's not gold out there to do it with. It's already bought. Very little actual gold left. It's gone. Same thing with silver. It's gone. So they're going to lose their ass because they're going to have to come up with gold and silver to deliver. So I don't really know what they're doing. This to me is the last act that they know COMEX is gone and they're just doing this. Prophet, good morning. Gold is dropping, and I'm explaining it. And but again, it's not because of demand like the Camry, right? The price is too high. There's no demand. Well, there's plenty of demand for gold and silver, as we know. So it's not dropping from the market. The only thing that could drop it is the options, as I keep saying. That's the only way it can drop. It's not like there's no demand because are you going to stay in dollars? Are you going to buy stock? You're going to buy Bitcoin? You're going to buy treasuries? All incredibly stupid options. So the demand for gold and silver, and it's worldwide. It's China, it's Russia, it's India, it's Saudi Arabia. It's huge. So it's not like the demand stopped. We got to lower the price of gold, which would be done in a market. Well, right now it's paper gold. So what you're looking at, profit, is paper gold. Paper gold's going down. Who gives a fuck? We have physical gold. And physical gold can never go down because nobody is selling it at these ridiculously low prices. And it keeps going down and they keep running options. So it's gone from 40.80 to 39.80. So it's roughly lost $100. For what reason? None. Just they're shorting it. They're playing games, shorting it. It's the end of the month. They set their book. The end of the month's tomorrow. So they set their book. So the lower, the better, I guess. I don't really know much about why they settle their book, but they do. And it's for options, and it's actually on the 28th. And silver 46.32. So this is all just a gimmick. Wouldn't worry about it. There's nothing happening. The demand hasn't declined. Nobody's selling their gold. That's ridiculous. And the reason is, again, I take you to the Titanic because it's the easiest to explain. The boat sinking, you're on the lifeboat, gold. Why would you get off the lifeboat to go back on the Titanic and go to the bottom of the Atlantic? So we've gotten out of the dollar to go into gold. Why would we get out of the gold and go back on into the dollar? That would be incredibly stupid. Treasuries, dollar. Stock market, the dollar. Bitcoin, the dollar. So you'd be out of your mind to sell the gold to get back into that. So if people are doing that, and I know some people have, still doesn't affect the price. So if everybody sold 100 ounces of gold, if they had it, and it would not lower the price. This is worldwide. This is China, Russia, and everybody. Right now, the U.S. has it, and that's fine, but it's all bullshit. And there's absolutely no reason. It's not. See, this is the problem with COMEX. It's paper. It's paper gold run by options, and they're trying to make money on the options. They're all going to go bankrupt. JP Morgan's doing this now, maybe with the LBMA, maybe with Citibank, trying to short gold to buy it cheaper. Is the only answer I can come up with. Is there's no reason to sell gold. It's the out. It's the savior. It's the savior of Rome is to buy gold because that won't go out. The dollar is worthless. So as long as you understand that concept, you don't want to get back on the Titanic and sink. Just stay in your lifeboat. You're fine. You're not gonna. Nobody's selling an ounce of gold here. Hey Ryan, how are you? Coins are bullion. Silver is silver. Save a little more buying bullion. There you go. Yeah, silver you can buy. The bullion is fine. But I got like a lot of the buffaloes. You pay $2 over spot, and I don't know what my guy. I assume he'll charge me spot for it. Yeah, I mean, if you're working, just keep buying silver. You don't want to be in the dollar. So the real answer is, if I have 5,000 of these, I sell them for silver or gold. You can still buy quarter ounces of gold and tenth of an ounces of gold. You're buying gold. There's nothing wrong with that. Silver, you get more ounces. So you can certainly do that. That would be correct. The last thing you want to be is in dollars. US, Canadian, rubles, yuan, yen, British pounds, African. The last thing you want to be in is paper dollars. They're all worthless. So when Biden's fucking around putting up $5 trillion spending bills, and I'm knowing that's going to bankrupt us, there goes the inflation. My first thought was, well, British pounds or euro, Swiss franc, and then I realized they're all the same. They're all worthless. They're all printed to death because it's the pensions of every country. It's the debt of every country. It's the government spending, all the government employees in every country. They can't afford it. So every dollar that isn't backed by gold, and no country is backed by gold except for Zimbabwe, I believe, that makes all their dollars worthless. So the only lifeboat you could go to is gold and silver, which is theoretically a monopoly. There is no other lifeboat, right? You can go into a Rolex or a Mantle card, but that's not really money, and you'd still have to sell it to get money, but gold and silver are money. So your ideal is to buy gold and silver. And then when gold goes up, to buy the Mantle card with, a quarter ounce of gold will buy you a nice Mantle card. But you want to buy real assets that are very limited, that there's high demand for. That's why we go to Mantle and Brady and all those superstars, Joe Namath, you go to that because, there's demand for it. Everybody wants Joe Montana or Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays. So that's why you do it. And if the better the condition, the more limited they are. So if you see a PSA 9 Willie Mays, there's not too many of them because the condition for a 1960-ish card can't be very good. So you got a limited, high demanded item, which means the price is high. And there was no more limited, highly demanded item than gold and silver, which makes the demand much higher. Because it's limited, the demand's high. Because it's money, the demand's high. And because the dollar's worthless, it drives people into it. So all this you see here in gold and silver, it's just fantasy because this is paper. So the key to understand is this is paper. This isn't physical. The physical is doing fine. China with 80,000 tons, they're not letting this drop. China will buy it and ask for delivery, and the U.S. won't be able to do it. That's why I think COMEX is just about over. They can't afford it. They can't keep shorting it. And I don't know the reason why you would short it. Like I said, there's two reasons. One, to lower the price so you can buy, and two, to try to get people out of gold and silver, to scare them to buy treasuries, which would make no sense. So that's really what you have. I assume it's to drop it down so people will buy it. The rich people want to buy it. All these spam calls. Ryan, I made $200 over the weekend doing side jobs. Struggling to buy today or wait for bigger dip. No, you buy today. You don't wait for a dip because the dips, you might get a dip today. The 28th is when they kind of lower it to cover the spread or whatever they do at the end of the month. I know it goes down at the end of the month. That's all this is. But there's no reason to wait because you're not trying to buy it. You're not trying to time the market. Silver's 46.33. You can get it at my guy's store for 48.33. What are you waiting for? All right, so it goes down to 45. You save $1. Whippy. For $200, you're buying 4 ounces. The important thing is you own the gold and the silver. And when it goes up, and you don't know when that's going to happen, there's going to be one day the market crashes. So you don't want to be in the stock market. It's going to crash. The bond market's already crashed. The bonds are worthless. Nobody wants them. Again, no demand, no value. The bonds have no demand, no value. Bitcoin, I don't think has demand. It's just Saylor and Trump and Fink buying it to say, hey, look, buy Bitcoin. That's a Ponzi scheme. It's not even real. You can't see it. You can't touch it. How can it be real? So you got to be careful there. Stocks, the bonds are all going to crash because they're all kept up, but it's not the free market. It's not demand raising the price. It's Ponzi schemes raising the price. It's Madoff raising the price. And so therefore, the quicker you get out of dollars and into silver, the better it is for you. Because when silver hits $100 an ounce, do you really give a shit if you bought it at 46.28 or 45.28 or 47.28? You're better off buying 46.28 than you're buying it at 48.28 or 50. You just want to hold it. You want to buy 100 ounces and you have it. And there you go. And you put it in your safe and you have it. That's all you care about. I got it. That's all I care about. I got my gold. I got my silver. I have it. And then we watch the price go from 1,700 to 4,000 and go to 5,000, go to 10,000. It's going to keep going up because there's demand for it. So as I was saying, the Camry, there's no demand for it. They had to lower their price from 35 to 25. Is there no demand for gold? Physical gold? There's huge demand. But the price isn't determined by physical. It's determined by this fake COMEX paper. and the real physical is 10 times more. So as we see this $4,000 price, we know it's phony. We know it's paper. So you have nothing to worry about. Physical will eventually take over. When? Very soon. And that's all you do. And you just wait for it. It's like waiting for an elevator. You know it's coming, but it's just taking time to come. There's a lot of stories. So that's all that's happening here. So I wouldn't be concerned. Yeah, I mean, put it this way, Ryan, do you want to hold dollars? We know this has zero value. $6 to buy cornflakes, $20 to buy a steak. This has no value. So the longer you hold this, the lower it's worth. So you need to get out of this as soon as possible while they'll still take it. I go to my gold store guy and I say, I have one question. When will you stop taking dollars for the gold? He said, well, I don't think we'll stop. We need the dollars to pay our employees and to pay the rent and eat and stuff like that. And I just smiled. Okay, great. Because my concern is he doesn't take dollars anymore, which is what will happen. Now, when Pat comes on, he lives in Singapore. He's saying there's a 6-hour wait at the gold store to buy the gold or buy the jewelry, buy the coins in Singapore. Are they still taking dollars? I think they are, but there'll be a point, where it's the wallpaper. It's the 1923 Reichsmark that you wallpaper and you need the wheelbarrow for. So there's a point when you won't take it anymore. We haven't reached that point yet, but that's where you're at, Ryan. If you wait too long and you go to buy the silver and he says, I don't take dollars, they're not worth anything. But because most of the people here are idiots, they don't realize the dollar's not worth anything. We realize it. We know it has no value. As long as they want to still take it at the grocery store and at the restaurant, I can pay rent with it. I can pay my utilities with it. Fine. But I know it doesn't have a value. I don't have money in the bank. I don't have money in the stock market. I have 0 Bitcoin. It's in gold and silver. The only thing that has a real value. Stock market has no value. It's being pushed up by the government, so it's not real. Just like the gold's being pushed down by JP Morgan, the stock market's being pushed up, but it's not by the market. And that's what we need. We want the market to demand. Everybody wants lemons and then the price goes up. Well, it's because everybody wants it. They're really healthy. That's okay. But that's not the issue with the gold. The gold's going down, but the demand is huge and physical. And we're not looking at physical price. We're looking at this paper price. And as long as we're looking at paper, it's not real. So again, you're judging the market. So when the Camry goes down or the ribs get too expensive, people stop buying. There's no demand. Is there no demand for gold and silver? Is that what's driving the price down? And the answer is no, not at all. There's huge demand for it. Just ask Pat in Singapore, 4-hour lines to go to the jewelry store to buy either gold change or bars or coins. 4 hours. That's your demand. That's in Singapore. So don't tell me there's no demand for it. So they're all loving it too, going, wow, it's down to the 4,000. And they don't understand it because they're in line 4 hours to buy it. Why is the price going down? So it's very simple. If you want to buy and you can lower the price, you would lower the price. Price goes down, you go buy, then the price goes back up. So this won't last long. I'd say maybe another day. By the end of the month, you'll see, but we'll be back at 4,300 because there's just too much demand for gold. And again, this is paper. And again, they're going to have to stand for delivery. And where are the U.S. going to get gold and silver to deliver this mess? Right. So it's gone down $100 today. Where are they going to get the gold to deliver this $100 in options that are happening? They can't. So I think COMEX is done. I'd say by the end of the year, Don't quote me exactly, but you can see what's happening. They're doing this and they won't pay the delivery and then they'll be kicked out. And they'll be Basel 3 and they'll say, you can't play anymore or nobody will play with them because you're not delivering the gold. And the only reason it's going down and people are into Comex because this is the cheapest place you can get it. So they're going, oh, if I can buy gold at this store for $100 and at that store it's $200, I'll go to this first store for 100 and buy it. And that's what Comex is. Comex, what, 3,400 or 4,000. Nowhere is it 4,000. In Singapore it's probably 42, 4,300. In China it's probably even more. In Russia it's probably 4,500. So keep that in mind. This is paper bullshit. This is not real physical, and this is another buying opportunity. We'll be at 5,000 soon. This is a little pushback for no reason. It makes 0 sense. It's all paper. It's a bunch of crap. It's JP Morgan doing his illegal stuff that he always does, but since he runs the country, he doesn't face the penalties. So it's terrible. So the more you make, Ryan, the more you want to just go buy physical. You just basically, you're Rumpelstiltskin. You're turning dollars into gold and silver. That's how you got to look at it. And the reason is because the dollar's worthless. So the quicker you understand that, the quicker you don't worry about it. You're collecting as much as you can, and that's really the key, is to get as much as you can. It's a no-brainer. My portfolio, 60, 20, 20, 60 stock, 20 treasuries, and 20 gold. My portfolio is 95 gold, silver, 5% baseball cards. There's no value in the dollar. There's no value in treasuries. There's no value in stocks. The market's crashing. We're in a recession. We've got tariffs all over the place. Nobody's going to trade with us. So how can the businesses be doing better? Oh, well, because they're all over the world, right? Facebook's in every country, or Amazon. So these are global countries. Okay, well, maybe, but they're not worth that. Their financial statements say, no, they're not. So Amazon might be a $50 company, but the stock price is 200. That's too high. It's only worth 50, not 200. So it'll all come down very, very soon. We will see. All right. So let's get into football. And if you have any more questions on economics, please ask. That's what I do. I tell people, email me, and I says, and I never heard of the guy, and I says, just go into go chat with me. Just come on in and ask questions or comments. He had a real long scenario yesterday. It was pretty funny. All right, so let's look at yesterday's pros. We start off, San Diego wins 37-10. We had over. It was a winner. Houston wins 26-15, which is a 41. We went under 47.5. That was a winner. My score was Frisco 20, Houston 10, and it was Houston 26, Houston 15. So I'm not sure where Houston's getting points, but okay. Baltimore wins 30-16, a 46. I had Baltimore winning 21-20 without Lamar. Huntley played well. Their defense shut down Lamar, who's terrible, as we know. Buffalo 40-9, a 49. I had Buffalo 30, Carolina 24. Once I heard Dalton was playing, I thought that they would score more. I love Buffalo. I had them locked, and then I took them off and just played them regularly. But I love Buffalo. They had lost 2 games in a row off a bye. They weren't losing to Carolina. Not a team like Carolina. My first lock, Philadelphia over. They win 38-20. I had him winning 28-27, which probably would have been closer to the score, but Scadaboo broke his ankle. So I have a 55, it ends 58, total of 44. I locked it over, so I locked it at 38. So that was probably the easiest lock I've had in a long time. New England, 32-13. That's my second lock. I got New England -1. I scored New England 20, Cleveland 10. I figured Cleveland with a good defense. So they put up, it's a 45, but I didn't touch the total on it because Cleveland, pretty good defense. But New England gets some 32-13. I'm laying 1. So that's 2 locks, 2 winners. Hey, the JETSs win 39-38 somehow. That was my third lock with Cincinnati minus a half. So I lose by 1. The reason, play against the Jets 22-2, play against them this week 7-0. Cincinnati's got Flacco, he's scoring. They certainly scored. They got 38 points. They have a 31 defense. They gave up 39 to Fields, who I didn't even think was playing. I thought Taylor was playing. And Fields lights them up for 39, but it's the way they did it. At the end, they scored 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion to win the game 39-38. Very strange. I know Cincinnati doesn't have a great defense, but the Jets certainly don't. And I thought when the Jets made it a 7-point game that they would then go down and get more points and just run the clock out, which they didn't do. Again, terrible coaching by Cincinnati, but hard to believe. I have a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter with Cincinnati against the Jets, and it loses. I was shocked by that. So that was lock number 3. It takes a miracle for me to lose a lock, right? Miami 34-10 over Atlanta. I played Atlanta early. I thought Penix was playing. He was listed as questionable. Normally, if he's not playing, he's either out or doubtful. So for him to be questionable, I thought it was really strange that he didn't play. And again, Miami, a terrible road dog. They're 7-0 against this year. And the Z team, a 29 defense, and Atlanta scores 10 points. Kirk Cousins, probably the worst quarterback ever to play. Had I known it was Cousins, I would have stopped it. I wouldn't have played it. But once I posted on the site, I'm really can't do anything with, I don't know if I can or if I should. Sometimes I pull like Thursday, oh wait, this quarterback's out, I'm pulling the pick because I don't want anybody to lose with it. But in this case, 34-10 Miami over Atlanta. I mean, the coach needs to go, and you need to get rid of Kirk Cousins. Just let him go to the grocery store. Tampa Bay 23-3. Tampa Bay very strong. Again, 22-3 in a teaser. 11-1 is a road dog. Just a very strong team. Off the loss all night. So had you just played the off the loss teams, you'd have hit Baltimore, you'd have hit Buffalo, you'd have hit Tampa Bay. The real teams. That's what you would have done. So I didn't play Tampa, but I like Tampa. I don't know, all these injuries. Baker just keeps going. And New Orleans, again, Rattler sucks. Tampa with a good defense, so they win 23-3. Indy 38-14. I had Indy 40-0. How about that? 38-13. Tennessee's terrible. I don't know how they scored 13, but Indy, they're probably a pick 6 involved somewhere or an interception. Ward's terrible. Why is he playing? Ward should not be on the field. He's clearly in over his head. Will he ever be good? I doubt it, but he certainly is not. The guy's in his first year. He doesn't know what he's doing. So I don't understand when they put these quarterbacks in that, oh, yeah, okay, you played in college. Okay, you're going to play in the pros. Excuse me? I'm not ready for this. And there's no way he could be ready for this. How can anybody just come out of college and be ready for the pros? Nobody is. Brady wasn't. Manning wasn't. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years. Brett Favre sat. Terry Bradshaw was a mess for 3 or 4 years till he got Swan and Stallworth. So for 4 years, he sucked. It's a whole big difference. Bradshaw tried to run, and as I hate running quarterbacks, you can see. And then when he became a real quarterback, when he got Swan and Stallworth, they started winning Super Bowls. But even Joe Namath struggled. Stabler struggled. You cannot just, well, let's get him in there and we'll see what he's got and we'll get him experience. It doesn't work like that. They've got to understand it. It's like putting you in front of an Excel spreadsheet, but you don't know what it is. Well, we'll give him experience. No, he's not going to do anything. He doesn't understand it. They don't understand what they're supposed to do. They're just not going to be good at it. Anyway, so Indy 38-13, the new A team. I believe they're an A team. Taylor runs. Daniel Jones is okay. The defense seems okay. So they're a real A team, it looks like. They cover a 14, they win by 25. Denver 44-24. And this just amazed me. Last week, I said 35-31, a 66 with Dallas and Washington. And it ended 44-22, a 66. And I bet it over. I have Denver 35, Dallas 33, a 68. This game's 44-24, a 68. How scary is that? I bet this over. This was my fourth lock over in this game. And yet I nailed the score perfectly to the point, 68. Yeah, 35, 33, 24, 44, 20. It doesn't matter. The point is I bet it over and I hit the 68. It gives me goosebumps. I do this in poker where I kind of close my eyes and I see the 8 of diamonds and then the dealer throws and the 8 of diamonds pops out. And it's scary. The hair on my back grows up. I get tingles all over because I picked the card. Usually I'm picking a card I need. I got 4 diamonds. Give me the ace of diamonds, and the ace of diamonds falls. And it's just really, and I've done it over 100 times at poker. Unbelievable. David, good morning. The last game, Green Bay 35 to Pittsburgh 25. I had Pitt +9. I almost had it. I needed the 2-point conversion at the end, which went through the receiver's hands, and he dropped it. It was there. Rodgers put it on. He couldn't catch it. Again, wondering why he's in the NFL if he can't catch. I had 30-27 Pitt, a 57. This was a 60, but I didn't play the total. I circled the total 44 to go over 38. I thought that was good because I know Pitt can score, and they got a pretty weak defense. In Green Bay, Pitt's defense is terrible. They didn't Love had like 20 completions in a row. They didn't get close to him, so they don't blitz in Pittsburgh, and they're losing. Tonight we got KC Washington, and as of now, KC's 11-48. I have not played this game. Washington has their receivers back, McLaurin and Samuel, but they're starting Mariota, which big trouble. KC's KC, they're pretty healthy. Mahomes. Washington's very good in the teaser, 23-4, but that's with Daniels. And KC's 18-3 is a home favorite the last few years with Mahomes. You can use those trends because KC's had Mahomes and Andy Reid. So that was this weekend. So I went 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 5-1, 5-2, 6-2, 6-3, and 3-1 on my locks. So not too bad. The Atlanta game was played very small, as was the Pittsburgh game. The big game was the Philadelphia over and the Dallas over was played in two teasers. So that's why I don't really look at that. I say my picks were 6-3, but it's really how many did I, when I tease Dallas in two teasers, what does it mean? Do I go 2-0 for those? So that's why it's always hard for me to give. That's why I give the picks, because I picked 9 games. I won 6 and lost 3. David, Tyler Lockett signed with the Raiders. Okay. You don't have to say TK. We know it's TK. Profit. Giants got screwed with that quick whistle on the Hurts tush push play, which led to their second touchdown. Yeah, that's what I heard. That play needs to go. There's no business in it. And how can there be a quick whistle? The tush push, the one thing that everybody hates, it goes on for 5 minutes. He gets stopped, then he gets pushed, and he gets into the end zone. It's a touchdown. Wait a minute, they stopped him. I've seen that happen 25, 100 times where he's clearly stopped, and then they push him, and then he gets the touchdown. All of a sudden, he doesn't go, and he fumbles, and they don't call it a fumble. I didn't see the play. I was at the pool, but whatever. It's a terrible play that should be outlawed. It's not football, it's rugby, and we're watching football. So it's a terrible play. The refs are terrible. The refs are all paid off. That's one of the problems. Yes, they're terrible. We must have women referees. I think that's the stupidest thing, because women never play. You want a guy that's kind of played to be the ref, because he'll understand the game. And then this bailout, 4th and 20, and there's maybe pass interference, but probably not. And you're calling pass interference and bailing out the team. I think that's ridiculous. You cannot bail out teams. 4th and 20, unless the guy's tackled, if there's just a little hand contact, even if you're kind of holding on, but the guy's going, you cannot call interference there. You can't bail out the team. It was like in the NBA in the last minute of the game, Bird or Jordan or Magic, you drive the lane, you get hit, there's no foul. We're not bailing you out. You got to make the shot. And that's how it should be in football, especially on these 4th down, bailout bullshit, pass interference. There aren't even close to pass interference. And then I really hate the announcers, the Chris Collinsworth, the Troy Aikman's the worst. And Herb Kirkstreit's terrible. And yep, you can see it was he did hold the jersey. The ref was right. They're so quick to call the ref right. This to me is socialism, trying to control you where the government is right. Yes, if the government says it's speeding, it's speeding, and you have no repercussion on it. It's just it makes me throw up. It makes it very hard to watch when these announcers are so pro ref. Definitely it was offside. You don't call it. If the guy's like this far in the neutral zone, you don't call it. You call it when he takes a run in and he's getting an advantage. But if he's just this far over, you don't call it. You don't call all these penalties that they call. All these interference, all these holding, illegal man downfield. What a bunch of bullshit. The guy's 2 yards downfield. You don't call it. You let the play go. You want a game. You don't want it stopped by referees. And then every time there's a score, we need to go 5 minutes to a commercial to kill the entertainment and enjoyment. Like, we scored, yes. And then it's like you got to wait 5 minutes to make sure that he scored. It's insanity. It's not enjoyable. It's not entertainment. It's a bunch of bullshit. Oh, there's an injury. Well, I'll see you in 15 minutes. We're going to run the commercials while the guy's injured. It's not enjoyable to watch. That's why I just watch it on YouTube, because I can't really sit for 3 hours. Very hard to watch it. So anyway, New York head office needs to automatically review every play like they do in college football. No, you don't want New York involved at all. You just want the ref that's 3 inches away from the play to call it and be competent. Was he out of bounds? Well, I didn't see it. Not to take a micro zoom in and see each blade of grass. Well, that's not what the ref's looking at. That's not how you should review it. Reviews should take 30 seconds. And if they take longer, then whatever the ref called is what should happen. And this bullshit of calling it a fumble, even though it's an incompletion, and they run it in for a touchdown, they go, oh, no, it was an incompletion. And you've just wasted everybody's time where we're sitting there watching 15 replays of the same play because the ref can't make a call is ridiculous. You want to speed the game up, but then you want to have all these commercials for all this review, which should take 30 seconds. That takes 5 minutes. It's just very hard to watch. Go to London. Yeah, maybe they'll watch it there. David, they call pass interference for anything. Well, and it's just bailouts. It's just do we need the pass interference? The worst is the offensive pass interference. That's the biggest joke. Romo is good. At least he tries to tell it like it is. Oh, Romo's terrible. They're not analyzing shit. All they're doing is saying, oh, look how the wide receiver blocked. Oh, it was pass interference. It was offense. Yes, the ref was right. Romo adds nothing. He's a loser. He's probably the least qualified. Him and Herb Kirkstreet are the least qualified. Herb Kirkstreet didn't do shit in college, never made the pros. What is he doing analyzing? And then Romo is the biggest choker in the world with that fumble on the extra point. So I don't want to listen to Romo. I hate Chris Collinsworth. Troy Aikman's an idiot. And Tom Brady doesn't know what he knows, but he doesn't know how to say it. He's very stiff. He doesn't add any insight. You want Tom Brady to say, well, in the Super Bowl, when we had this defense, this is the plays we would run against it. This is how you beat that defense. They're not analyzing. They're just saying, well, look at that receiver made a block. Oh, that was offsides. Oh, yes, he pushed the face mask. Well, we can see that. That's not analyzing. John Madden didn't do that. I mean, this is just ridiculous. They can call holding on every play if they want. It's stupid. Yes. Madden was the best. Yes. And that's what these guys need to do is make it kind of humorous, but make it analytical. They're analysts. I don't need Herb Kirkstreet telling me, well, yeah, the block downfield and there was a big hole and the guy ran. Yeah, we can see there was a big hole. We can see the guy ran through. We don't need you to just review the play with us. We need you to analyze and shut the fuck up. We don't need to hear you for 25 minutes. Just shut the fuck up and let us watch the game. And if there is anything insightful that you know, which is very little, then say something that's insightful. Don't just say, yeah, that was a big hole and the guy ran through it. Yeah. Well, yeah, we saw that. The K balls were slippery back then when Romo played. No, Romo was a choke. I didn't see anybody else fumble the snap except for North Dallas 40. So, no, he just choked. All right. So today, KC 11, 48. Mahomes against Mariota. Mahomes 18-3 is the home favorite. They're hot. They're still trailing Denver. They're 4-3. They're starting to play. So with Daniels, I would definitely take Washington or I'd probably go over. But we don't have Daniels. There's no way I'm trusting Mariota. And this is the big problem. So other insight. If we go through it, Houston, okay, Frisco's just got a lot of injuries. Houston with the great defense, the 15 defense gave up 15. So they're a good underplay, which is what we got. Well, Baltimore, okay, with Huntley, they came back a little, but they played the Bears. And again, Caleb was lost. They shut him down. They're trying to run the Lions plays where they fake the handoff and roll the other way and hit the tight end coming out the other way. The problem is the Bears don't have running, so nobody's going to respect it. Caleb stinks, so he can't hit the broadside of a barn. Baltimore, we'll see if they're getting better or not. But Huntley, something's going on with Lamar. I mean, he had 3 weeks to rest plus a bye, and he still didn't practice. And on practice on Friday, he just lobbed the ball. He wasn't like running around and anything. Then he doesn't play again. So you're misleading everybody because the line was based on Lamar playing. And then Friday, oh, yeah, he's not playing. Well, you knew he wasn't playing. He wasn't ready Wednesday or Thursday if he wasn't ready Friday. So you know Lamar wasn't playing. That's not good. You can't. That's kind of illegal because people could have been betting on the Bears at 6.5 if they know Lamar's not playing. Now, it didn't help them. They lost by 14. I had no inclination to bet the Bears because of Caleb. Buffalo came back 40-9. Carolina, Dalton, I was surprised didn't do much. But when Carolina plays these weak teams, they win. But here you go. They play a good team in Buffalo at home and get killed. The Giants in Philly, the Giants lost Scadaboo. That's a huge loss. Dart, yeah, he ran into a pretty good team and he showed his true colors. Philly got 38. They finally got Barkley going. Hurts is okay. So Philly, Buffalo. All right, they're waking up, so keep that in mind. New England, 32-13 over Cleveland, a good defense. Myles Garrett had 5 sacks. Drake May, I'm still worried about him. Cleveland with Gabriel, I saw him throw a touchdown, and that was it. So, again, Cleveland, very weak offense, but you got to worry about their defense. The Jets over Cincinnati, there's nothing you can say. The Jets stink. Cincinnati blows a big lead. Basically, they're an over team. So we've discovered Cincinnati. They're going to score a lot because Flacco's going to hit Chase, and he's going to hit T. Higgins, and their defense can't stop the wind or Fields. Now, not that the Jets have a bad defense anyway. Maybe their offense is okay. Miami and Atlanta just no Penix, no team. Cousins, the worst quarterback ever in football. Miami puts up 34. I have no idea if Cousins threw pick sixes or not. You have no Tyreek Hill. Miami's terrible. And then Atlanta, that's the second time Atlanta lost to Carolina 30-0. So what's going on here with Atlanta? Team I would not trust. Tampa Bay is very good, 23-3. Strong offense, strong defense. New Orleans shows you what they are, a Z team. They played like it. Tennessee, a Z team, same thing. Put up a whopping 13 on Indy, give up 38. No defense, no offense. Indy looks for real. They did lose to the Rams, and we'll see. I think they play a good game this week. Dallas, Denver, Dallas over team. They score. They have no defense. Denver, Bo Nix looked really good yesterday and a pretty good defense. Dallas is going to score on you with Pickens and CD Lamb. You're not going to shut them out. It depends who you play. If you play a strong offense like that, you're not going to keep them to 10 points. But if Denver were to, well, they did play Tennessee. We locked them and they won easy. But if Denver were to play Miami or teams like that, they would probably shut them out. Green Bay looked pretty good yesterday in the second half. Pittsburgh, it's Aaron Rodgers, and their defense is terrible. And tonight we'll see Washington, whose defense is not that great. Their offense is going to suffer with Mariota. But with Daniels, it's okay. KC, Mahomes is playing well. Mahomes just methodically drives the ball downfield on you. He just gets first downs and keeps the ball away from you. First down, 8-yard pass. We need 6, 10-yard pass. And they slowly, okay, now we'll score a touchdown on a 12-play drive while resting their defense and just killing your defense. And that's what he does against anybody. Buffalo, Baltimore. That's why you can't beat him. The only way you can beat him is what Philadelphia did, where they put pressure up the middle and sacked him from just working the ball down the field and slowly, methodically wearing you out. So KC's the champs. They're still the champs. They'll be the champs this year. Philadelphia looks pretty bad. Maybe they'll get it going. Jalen Carter. All right. So let's look at tonight. We got pros. Let's look at college. I get the strangest text. Oh, you want your bathroom reinstalled? No, I didn't. Oh, you want a lump? No, I didn't. What the fuck? I just said your AI is all screwed up. All right, college football. We went through the lines. No, I went through the lines yesterday. So I'm just going to go through. They fired Brian Kelly. He was in over his head. I thought he was in over his head at Notre Dame. This is where he should have stayed at Cincinnati. They were undefeated, sort of like Scott Frost. They're undefeated, and then you go to Nebraska and you lay an egg because you're not a good enough coach to face better competition. You can't face Ohio State and Michigan and these good teams. And you got to stay where you're good, which is in Central Florida. All right. So week 10. What is this line? Ten and 51. So Kennesaw State's laying 10 and 51. All right. And so let's just do day by day. So Tuesday, James Madison, Texas State. James Madison, 6.5, 57.5. All right, so let's review. UTEP and Kennesaw State are both under teams, 24 defense, 21 defense. Kennesaw State's 10 and 50. James Madison, Texas State. James Madison's an 18 with the 15 defense, so they're a good team. Texas State is more of the over team with the 31 defense. So they score a lot, give up a lot. So it would be hard to take Texas State to win. It would be easier to take them over because you can't trust their defense. Over is 58. James Madison. So here's where the problem is. They're a 15 defense. Will they stop Texas State? It's hard to say because they probably won't because Texas State is a good offensive team. Like we saw last week, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and Auburn, Arkansas. Oklahoma could not stop Ole Miss's offense, and Arkansas could not stop Auburn's offense. So as I said, I'm going to study that under team plays the over team, and it looks like those games go over. It looks like the defense can't stop really good offenses, right? So Oklahoma couldn't stop Ole Miss, and then Auburn, with the good defense, slowed down Arkansas enough, and then Auburn was able to score on the Arkansas weak defense. So you play the defense there. Although the Ole Miss game I played Ole Miss, not the under, and I win with it. So I think if you have a live offense, even though you got an Oklahoma, you can at least play them to keep the game close. So in this case, I think Texas State may be a live dog at 13. I think they'll score enough, but I don't think they can win. I think James Madison's defense is too good. All right, Wednesday, we got Jacksonville State, Middle Tennessee. Jacksonville State 654. Jacksonville State's an over team. Middle Tennessee's the Z team. So here's a Z team for us. So we would like Jacksonville State because they're an over team playing a Z team. Florida International, Missouri State 3.5, 51.5. Florida, they're both W teams with 30 defenses. So what do you do with that? Who the hell knows? Thursday, you got Tulane 3.5, 55 to UTSA. UTSA is not scoring like they usually do. So even though they got the quarterback, McCown, they're not scoring. He doesn't have a lot of touchdowns like he did last year. Could be receivers gone, could be offensive line issues, not necessarily the quarterback. And Tulane, an E team with a 22 defense, UTSA, an over team with a 30. So UTSA should normally score. Maybe they keep the game close. I don't know if they can win it. But anything's possible. Marshall goes against Coastal Carolina. This is still Thursday. Marshall, an over team. This is 4-54. Marshall, an over team with a 31 defense, and Coastal Carolina, a W with the 28. So Coastal Carolina doesn't score that much. Marshall laying the 4. You can't really go over because you're not going to get help from Coastal Carolina. If both teams aren't going to score, you can't get over. It's very hard to get over unless Marshall gets you over, which is 50, which is 48, which they could against this weak defense. Friday, 3 games. We start with Memphis Rice. Memphis 14, 49.5. Memphis an A team with the 20 defense. Rice a W with the 28 defense. North Carolina Syracuse. Syracuse 1.5, 46. North Carolina weak offense, good defense. Syracuse an E team with a 31. They got the backup quarterback who's not very good. And Sam Houston and L Tech 16.5, 49.5. Sam Houston's a Z team, but L Tech's an under team, so they're not going to score that much. So it's a hard number for them to cover. All right, let's see. We're just going to go through some big games on Saturday at this point. Texas 2.5, 45.5. Against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's the A team. I got Texas as a B team. Both 15 defenses, so the defenses are good. You saw what they did against Missouri. Missouri had the ball at the goal line, and the quarterback broke his foot. Pribula, however you pronounce it. He broke his ankle. He's gone. But they got down to the 1, so if he doesn't, it's tied at 17. Excuse me. Hello. Hello. Hey.
That's weird. It didn't even ring.
Yeah, it did.
Well, not for me.
Well, I can play it back for you. I'm in class, so.
Oh, how much longer of class do you have?
Well, I got this, and then I got a podcast I do at 2. So today's a bad day.
Okay.
Until after 2. But you get busy by 4. So tomorrow's fine.
Okay.
I'm available.
Sounds good then.
Yeah, I'm available then, but not. I'm in the middle of class, and then I'll tell you about this podcast. It's at 2 o'clock to 2:30.
All right, just call me when you're done with class then.
Okay.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. So Vandy, Texas. Vandy pretty much should be a live dog with Daggio against Arch Manning. Texas is starting to score a little bit more, but Vandy, to hold Missouri to 10 is huge. So Vandy's becoming a better team than Texas, I believe. Miami against SMU. Miami 10.5 and 50. They're both A teams. SMU lost to Wake Forest last week. They're at home. Miami, we'll see. Tough game. UCF and Baylor. Baylor 4.5, 60.5. Baylor, the over team, 32 defense. They're the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to score a lot. They're going to give up a lot. UCF's a B team with the 17 defense. That's not going to stop Baylor from scoring. UCF, let's see if they can score on Baylor. Then we can go over. If they can't, then you really can't. Both teams must score for you. Penn State, Ohio State. Now, I showed you 4.5 yesterday, but by last night it was up to 20, and now it's 21, 43.5. So I don't know what that 4.5 was, but it wasn't real, and that would have been my lock in my free play. Well, so forget the free play of Ohio State -4. That was some error on here, but I did show you where it said 4.5. Let's see. So Penn State, I don't even know what they are anymore. The coach is gone. The quarterback broke his ankle. He's gone. I don't know. I don't know what they are. They played Iowa. Well, let's look at their last game. Can we go 2 games? I don't. When did the kid come in? So Penn State. No, Northwestern, they lost 22-21. The kid was in there. Now against Iowa, they lost 25-24, which is pretty good. They scored 24 in Iowa. Pretty bad. They gave up 25 to Iowa. And Ohio State just keeps shutting everybody down. What a strong, strong defense, which is hard to believe with Matt Patricia. They can actually have a strong defense. So Ohio State, the 18, the 6 defense. Generally, you play Ohio State under because they win 35. This is like the Georgia team. They'd win 35-0, and the over-under would be 50. Here, the over-under is 44. So you can get an under 50. I don't think Penn State can score in this game. Ohio State, how strong a defense will Penn State give them? They're giving up 25 to Iowa. They're giving up 22 to Northwestern. Ohio State should be in the 40s. So this, maybe you play Ohio State here or you play the under. Rutgers, Illinois, 12.5, 62.5. Both are over teams. Illinois played a high-scoring game with Washington. We won. Rutgers didn't play that much of a high-scoring game, but they're pretty high-scoring, 30 defense. So Illinois off the loss to Washington. Maybe they play. We got to see how good Rutgers is. Navy and North Texas. North Texas, 6.5, 64. A little surprised North Texas is favored in this game, but as we saw last week, they are explosive motherfuckers. They put 27 up in the fourth quarter to win 54-20, which was our Friday play. Yes, I don't like playing Fridays or Thursdays, but I did. I couldn't resist. They were playing a Z team, and they killed them. Navy's an A team with the 23 defense. North Texas an over with the 25. I don't recommend playing against North Texas, but Navy maybe is a team you could. Navy's got a very good quarterback, Blake Horace, who's got some touchdowns. He's a good runner. The only chance Navy has in this game is to keep the ball away from the North Texas offense. That's it. They got to run. They got to run the whole quarter, right? They got to run 20 play drives and score touchdowns. I don't know if that's doable, but North Texas has a 25 defense. It's the only hope. Duke and Clemson. Clemson, 3.5, 55.5. Duke and over team. Mensah is the leading quarterback yards per game in the country. He's the Duke quarterback. Clemson, we've seen Klubik is not very good this year. At 20 defense, Duke, I think Duke's a live dog here. Army and Air Force, the big how come the Marines don't have a team? Air Force, 1.5, 49.5 against the Army. This is a tough game. Air Force is an over team with no defense. They have a 37 defense. Army, I don't like their quarterback. They're not scoring, and they got a 24 defense. So this is a tough one because this is one you want to bet over with Air Force, but is Army going to give you enough help? or maybe we take Air Force, but we got a terrible defense. So this is a very confusing game. Arizona State, Iowa State, 5.5, 50.5. If I can find them. Oh, here we go. Iowa State got killed by BYU last week. Arizona State, we got to check on their quarterback. He did play 2 weeks ago. I assume he played last week. Maybe he got re-injured. This line's awfully high for that. Arizona State's a pretty good dog if the quarterback's playing. New Mexico against Vegas. We got to find them. It's up here. Vegas, 5.5, 62.5. Up from 4.5. Both teams are over. This could be an over game. Vegas with the 33 defense. New Mexico is probably a live dog, 24 defense. We like the coach. Could be a live dog. This is over against over. But I'm not even sure it's an over. I got New Mexico at the 24 defense, and they played Michigan pretty well. I think they're kind of a live dog, maybe not an over. Louisville plays VTech. Louisville 10, 54.5. Louisville an 18, 21 defense. Virginia Tech a W with a 29. VTech's pretty bad. Louisville, they did beat Miami. We'll see. Now this is on the road. I'm not going to talk about some of these. Boise, Fresno. Boise 17.5, 50. Fresno an E team with the 23. Boise an over team with the 23. Boise starting to score. Fresno not bad. Decent defense. Boise at home. The blue carpet. Georgia, Florida. Georgia 7.5, 50. The largest cocktail party. I don't even know if they'll serve alcohol anymore. 7.5, 50.5. Georgia A 19. Florida under 20. I think you got to like Georgia here. Florida, well, this isn't in the swamp. It's in Jacksonville. It's a neutral site halfway between Athens and Florida, Gainesville. So it's not a home game for Florida or Georgia. So very interesting game. Total of 50. Maybe you go under, but I'm not thrilled with Georgia under. So I don't know. Maybe it's a Georgia game. Maybe it's an under game. I need more input. Pitt goes to Stanford. Pitt 14, 52. Pitt, their quarterback, I believe, got hurt. He was 0 for 1. And when I do my stats, there's a new quarterback who threw for 425 yards for Pitt. But this was his first game. And I said, no, the Horowitz is the quarterback, not this guy. And then I go to the box score, and Horowitz was 0 for 1. And this guy was like 21 for 22 for 450 yards. And I said, now this guy is here's whatchamacallit. Here's Tyler Van Dyke. Here's our guy from Utah, Cam. Here's Cam Rising. This is exactly what happened. The quarterback gets hurt. Cam Rising comes in and lights it up. I mean, they didn't even have Cam Rising playing. Here's this guy in Pitt. You get the quarterback got hurt. Here comes this guy. Throws for 425. Holy crap! So now you're sitting there going, "Oh, we just found Joe Montana." That's why I look at the stats, and that's how I find these guys. It pops out 425. It pops. I don't know how many touchdowns he had, and I mean we'll have to check the injuries, but I think Pitt's better with this guy than they are with the other guy who was pretty good. Michigan State goes to Minnesota after losing and covering on the last play of the game again. That's 2 games in a row. Michigan State covered, scoring on the last play of the game to cover the spread. They were down 28 to Indiana, getting 27. The guy kicks a field goal, so they lose by 25. And in Michigan, they're down 18. The spread's 14. They throw a touchdown on the last play of the game to lose by 11 Again, the spread being 14. Oh, but there's no games fixed here. Unbelievable. Anyway, so Pitt's 14. It's a 3:30 game, which is actually better for Pitt because for Stanford it's a noon game. For Pitt it's 3:30. They do have to fly to the West Coast, and they flew to, I think, Cal already. So now they're flying to Stanford. I think it might have been BC, but anyway, we'll see. But if this kid at quarterback's as good as we think, But Stanford, how did they play last week? We're looking at them. They played Miami. Yeah, they lost 42-7 to Miami. So that was Miami off of a loss. That's why off of a loss is so important. You know how the team's going to play, and that's the key to it, right? So if you know how the team, they could be flat. Are they going to be flat? Are they going to play? Well, we knew Buffalo was going to play yesterday after 2 losses. We knew Baltimore was going to give a good game after 3 losses or 4 losses, whatever they had. We knew a lot of these teams. Philadelphia was off of 2 losses. So all the good teams, when they lose 1 or 2 games, look out because they're the good teams. So they're properly motivated. So that's what you're looking for in betting. That's why we wait. And when we get a team who's off of a loss, who's a good team, we hit them. Miami 42-7. I didn't even have Miami. I think 14-3. What was I? I was 13-3 last week, hitting Southern Miss, by the way. One guy got at me because I was in Vegas and I said, well, I had Alabama. He says, oh, you're not a good handicapper. Anybody could take Alabama and win. How about Southern Miss? How about Utah State? Does that satisfy you that I know what I'm doing? So I'm kind of rubbing it in going, hey, I hit Southern Miss on the weekend. So that's what we're looking for, are teams off of a loss. But you got to be careful. Like Missouri's off of a loss, but they lost their quarterback. We don't know how their backup is. Probably pretty good, but we don't know. Now you got Oklahoma, I believe. I don't know if they're off of 2 losses or not. I know they're off of a loss. So we'll see. But it doesn't work for every team. It's just the real good teams who lose because they play another good team. Ole Miss plays Oklahoma. Somebody's going to lose, but you got 2 very good teams playing. All right, Michigan State mini 3.5, 44.5. Michigan State over with the 32, Minnesota under with the 21. Childs looks terrible, the quarterback. The backup looks really good. I don't know why they're not using the backup. Michigan State with not a lot of defense. Minnesota, an under team, pretty good, 21. I don't know. I think Minnesota is the better team here. Michigan State will win it on the last play. Notre Dame, BC. Notre Dame, 28.5, 57.5. Let's see, where the hell is Notre Dame? Here they are over here. What are they doing on this side? Notre Dame, 28.5, 57. That number hasn't changed. Notre Dame, an 18 with the 21 defense, but it's getting better. BC's an over team with the 34 defense. Translation, Notre Dame's going to score a shitload on them, but BC could score a little on Notre Dame, but I don't think they'll score too much. Arkansas didn't score. Notre Dame's playing really strong and desperate because they've already lost 2 games. Here they get BC, who's really good quarterback. He's a freshman and terrible defense. So Notre Dame, but the game is at BC. This is a rivalry. When Doug Flutie was there, it was like a Christian Catholic rivalry. So I don't know, but you would think Notre Dame. You think this is an over. Well, you think Notre Dame's going to score a lot on this defense. Put it that way. Indiana goes to Maryland. Indiana 21.5, 51.5. Where are we? I got to get a feel for the week. So this is like the second time I'm looking at this. So by Thursday, I'll know where all the teams are. Indiana, 21.5, 51.5. The A team, probably the best team in the country with Ohio State, a 10 defense. Maryland, a B team with a 17 defense. Maryland lost to Washington 28-24, and you can see Washington, just their defense, all that. Maryland last week, I don't know if they played. I think they played 2 weeks ago. Maryland. No, I don't see them. I think they played the week before. But, yeah, they played somebody. Who did they play? UCLA. UCLA beat them 20-17. But UCLA hurt their quarterback. Their quarterback should have been hurt Saturday. Indiana killed them. But Indiana, very strong running attack, very strong defense. They just score on you. Maryland, I don't know. I thought they were a over team. The way they held Washington and UCLA, I'm not sure. They seem to have a good defense, so I don't know. I got to study Maryland. Texas Tech, Kansas State. Texas Tech bounced back from their loss. They're laying 7.5, 52 to Kansas State at Kansas State. Kansas State played the rivalry with Kansas. They beat them good, but they got over for us. That was one of our locks on Saturday, the Kansas State over, and it came through. And Texas Tech 7, 52. They're an A team. Now, they did not have their quarterback. The backup played, and they beat Oklahoma State, who's a Z team. So that was the perfect. Had the quarterback play, would have been a lock because off of a loss, playing a Z team, and they won 48-0 with the backup. So imagine if the starter played Morton. So how good's the backup? Oh, it seems to be okay. It's Texas Tech, the backup, and Baylor and TCU. The backup's usually pretty good, better than most other teams. So an A team with a 12 defense, very strong defense, good running, decent quarterback here. Kansas State's an over team with a 25. Texas Tech -1, I would think, is probably gold, Jerry. Virginia and Cal. Virginia, a 4.54 at Cal, so they got to travel to the West Coast, and this is a 3:45 game. So this is a noon game for Cal. Virginia, it's a 3:45 game, so really an edge to Virginia here. We know they can throw. Cal's an E team with a 24 defense, so not sure. Oak State goes to Kansas. Kansas should beat the shit out of them. They're laying 24-57, but we've got the Z team here. If I can find the game. Here it is, way down there. Kansas 24-57, and they're an over team with a 25 defense, and Oak State's a Z team with a 39 defense. So the fact they have no defense, Kansas should light them up off of this loss to Kansas State. So they should open a can of whoop ass on them. Old Mississippi State and Arkansas, interesting game. Arkansas is 4.5, 67.5. Arkansas is an over team, 32 defense. So they don't really have a defense, but they can score. Old Mississippi State's a B team with a 23. This total is 67. Old Mississippi State scored a lot on Texas. Blake Shapen, the Baylor quarterback's their quarterback. They are starting to play. I think they're a very live dog and a very live over here. 67 is a big number, but Arkansas against this defense should have a good day, and Mississippi State against that defense should have a good day. South Carolina goes to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is 12.5, 54.5. South Carolina is an under team. Played their bowl game Saturday against Alabama. Should have won it. Alabama scores, goes for 2, ties the game with 2 minutes left, rips a fumble from Lenora Sellers, and scores with 30 seconds left to win for us. We were laying 6, and they scored the 2 touchdowns to win by 7. It was amazing. Ole Miss beat Oklahoma and put up a big number on them, 30-something. Nobody puts that up on Oklahoma. They were showing the game. Lane Kiffin, he kept saying, "Oh, these guys said I can't score on them. I can't score on them." He says, "I showed them." So Ole Miss 13. South Carolina doesn't score much. Ole Miss is playing strong. I think they're live here, laying 7. Really, they're not an O. They're probably more of a B team. They score a lot, but they have a 23 defense. So we will see. Purdue goes to Michigan. Michigan 21-51.5. Michigan a B team with the 17 defense. They just run the ball. Their quarterback's not very good. Purdue an E team with the 27 defense. Their quarterback got shut out by Northwestern. Probably gets shut out here. 51, I don't know. Michigan should be pretty successful against this defense. Purdue probably not. I don't know. It's a tough number, the 51. Probably you go under. It's Michigan. They play run and defense, and they'll break 2 or 3 runs for 70 yards for touchdowns. It's crazy. Arizona goes to Colorado to play Coach Prime. If I can find it. Over here. They keep changing these columns. 7 o'clock game. Arizona 4.5, 52 at Colorado. Arizona B team with the 20 defense. Colorado an E team with the 27. The final score, Utah 53, Colorado 7. And Dampier did not play. They had a new guy, freshman, who ran all over the place. Another one of these running type of quarterbacks. So Colorado, hands will be for Noah Fafita is an excellent quarterback. The thing that kills Colorado is the 27 defense. They're not really scoring much, but they got a 27 defense. And Arizona with the 20. It's tough because you want Colorado to be favored and get Arizona as the dog. So you kind of you don't really trust Colorado as the dog, even though they're at home. Game of the day, Oklahoma, Tennessee. Let's see, where's that? Tennessee's 3.5, 56.5. Woof. Oklahoma, the quarterback's playing. The kid from Washington State, he's just not very good. 12 defense from Oklahoma, not here. Tennessee will light them up. Joey Aguilar at home, put up 40 on Georgia. This is not where you go under with Oklahoma, not against this type of team. And this is the key. This is the last piece of the puzzle. Under team, let's play it under. Not when you fuck with a Tennessee or an Ole Miss or Arkansas. They will score on you. I don't care what your defense is. And that's the last piece of the puzzle. We don't go under with Oklahoma here. We like Tennessee as a home dog and kind of shocked their favorite here. But Oklahoma got killed by Texas, and they just got killed by Mississippi. They're not very good. We don't like the coach. I don't know that I'll take Tennessee, but then I look at the total, and maybe we go over with it. Just because it's Tennessee, we can't play under with Tennessee, especially at home. Mountaintop. USC, Nebraska. USC is 7-58. USC an over team with the 23 defense. They're more of a B team. They did beat Michigan and score on that defense. Nebraska's a B team with the 19 defense, which I don't believe. It's a little bit higher. They gave up 31 to Maryland, so I don't buy that. USC, it's a 7:30 game, so that's 4:30 for USC, so that's not bad. And it's only going to Nebraska, which is not going all the way to like Maryland or New York. SC is a very good team and very live. Nebraska's okay, but I don't think they're on USC. So, we'll have to study this one. Do I want to go over because Nebraska can score, or pick a team? Georgia Tech, our favorite. Georgia Tech, Haynes King came through for us again. 6.5, 57.5 to NC State. Georgia Tech, an A team, can score with a 20 defense. Great quarterback, great coach, checks all the boxes. NC State is not an over team. They're an E team with a 30 defense. Maybe they're a W team. Georgia Tech, look for them to light them up. We'll have to study this game. That might be our free game. Kentucky, Auburn, 10, 47.5. Auburn's an under team. I kind of an E team. They scored pretty well on Arkansas, so it depends who they play. Kentucky's not very good this year. A W team with a 30 defense. Normally they have a 20 defense. Auburn's kind of an E team with an 18 defense, so they're pretty good, but they're not scoring, but they did score last, so they're 10-47. The game's at Auburn. I don't know, maybe Charles Barkley will play. Wake Forest goes to Florida State. Florida State, 7.5, 51. I have no confidence in Florida State. They're 3-4. They're on a 4-game losing streak, losing to fucking Stanford. Problem, their quarterback sucks. Against Alabama, he ran. Lenoris Sellers for South Carolina ran all over Alabama also. They're incapable of playing a running quarterback. Wake Forest, I don't know if he's a runner or not. They're a B team with an 18 defense. They're pretty good. They beat a good team last week. Wake, they beat SMU. Florida State's just terrible. They're an over team with a 22 defense. Their defense isn't playing well, and they score. They put up points on Pitt. They put up points on Virginia in losses. So the question is, what kind of offense does Wake have? But Florida State here and over in a 22. I don't trust Florida State to win against anybody. Cincinnati and Utah, very good game. If I can find it. Where the hell is it? Why are these games so screwed around? I put them out yesterday. They should be the same order. Utah is 756.5 to Cincinnati, a very strong team. Great quarterback. Sorsby, 21-1. 21 touchdowns, 1 pick. An A team with a 19 defense. Utah's an A team with a 14 defense. We saw the BYU game was 24-21. BYU then murdered Iowa State last week. Utah an A team, 14 defense. I don't trust the new kid. He ran all over Colorado. I don't know if he's going to run all over Cincinnati. But Cincinnati will score on Utah like BYU. I think that 21-24 game should be right around there. Puts it at a 47-50. Cincinnati can definitely score. Kansas put up 34 on them. But they're a real team, Cincinnati, good team. Live dog here, live over, I think. And our last game, Hawaii at San Jose State. San Jose State, 2.5, 56.5 at home. Hawaii is a pretty good team. They beat Air Force. They're scoring. They give up 23. San Jose State gives up 29. I'd say Hawaii's probably a live dog here. It's the 10:30 game. And that's the bigger games in college football. Brian Kelly was fired at LSU. I think Bobby should be up. Bobby, you going to be the new coach for LSU football? They'll listen. You can maybe have Ric Flair could be one of the coaches. Maybe you can get like The Rock or Derek Jeter. Tom Brady could be the quarterback coach. So that's what we have in the look ahead in football. Now we're fine-tuning the grades. As I said, how important the grades are. I can kind of fine-tune them a little bit more because now I got conferences. Gold, 39.88. They're still playing games. Silver, 46.57. Again, this is totally irrelevant. This is all paper. Nothing, no profit taking. Nobody's selling an ounce of gold. You don't sell and get back into the dollar. If you do, you're an idiot. And I don't think that's what's happening. Are they selling to get into stocks? Then they're even bigger idiots. You're selling to get into Bitcoin, you're bigger idiots. Are you selling to get into bonds? Then you're Warren Buffett, and you need your head examined. All right. So there's our mobster friend, Michael Franceschi, talking about the Shotani, if he knew about the betting, and supposedly he didn't. We'll go into that. First, we're going to look at Egon.
We haven't seen the beginning of the real bull market in gold yet. That's still to come. That will be obviously a collapse of the monetary system. As we know, most currencies, dollar, euro, yen, etc., they're all down 99% since 1971, even since 1980. Now we have final 1%, but as I always stress, that 1% fall of the currencies is 100% from here. And this is what we're going to experience. We have all the elements. We have the debt, which is growing exponentially. We have the deficits, which are also growing exponentially. We have money printing in most countries. Also, we have extremely poor political leadership in Europe and in the US and around the Western world. And that goes hand in hand with the end of an era. You get weak leadership. You need a really poor leader to take you down the last bit. And that's what we have.
My mom's been wanting to start something new.
Nobody cares. So that's what we have. We have
Michigan homeowners. If your house was built before 2019, I want to buy your house right now, as is.
This isn't the one I wanted to show you. So this is the one I want to show you. Was he involved with this $40 million thing? And they kind of say no.
Calls me and says, "Are you sitting?"
So we're just going to play that part of it. It's just some bookmaker who we don't really give a fuck about. It's not the mafia guy. Let's see. It's about 5 minutes. So he meets the interpreter for Shotani, and he's just stealing all of Shotani's money. Shotani's so stupid he doesn't realize that, which I don't believe. You're making this money and you don't realize it. So anyway, this is when he was on California. All right. Real quick about Egon. What did he say? We don't even have the beginning of it yet, of the gold rally. So when you see gold at 4,000, it hasn't even started. So that's really the key to it. It hasn't started yet. It's about to happen, and it's already at 4,000. So that's why we don't worry about today, because if you understand it, this is what I teach you with football. If you understand the team as a Z team, you're going to bet against it. You're not going to bet on it, and then they lose. You go, why did they lose? Well, because they're a Z team. You got to know that up front. They're a Z team and stay away. Oh, Ohio State, this great team with a great defense. I'm going to bet them under. And they win. Why did I win? Because I bet them under because they have this great defense, or what we did with Georgia for years. And so that's really the key. And then, like, you've got to be aware of the change. So Texas is an under team. They can't score. They got a great defense. And then all of a sudden they play Old Mississippi State, and it's an 80-point game. Something's changed. Old Mississippi State's got the quarterback Shapen from Baylor, but Texas is not an under team. They're where did their defense go? So you can pass on Texas. So when we get passing teams on Texas, I don't know if we have one this week. No, Baylor's got UCF, Texas Tech, and Kansas. Texas has Vandy. Vandy's going to be able to pass on Texas. It's not going to be it might be an under game, but Daggio, they're going to have trouble with Daggio because they seem to have trouble with good quarterbacks. So you start adjusting the team. The first few games are against the high school team in Akron, the Z teams, and they look like Team A. And then they get into the conference and they play Old Mississippi and Old Mississippi State and Oklahoma and Alabama. And then you go, oh, they're not an under team. They're not an over team. They're not an A team. You start getting the real team because they're playing a better talent level and it's in conference. So they're just going to play conference teams. Now we readjust. That's why I look at 4 or 5 games. And an interesting email from a gentleman. Your name, I forget right now. I'm bad with names. Please don't take it personally. And he says the same thing. I look at the last 4 or 5 games. Well, that's why, because you want to get to the real team. You have to bet them. You have to know what they really are. BYU and Utah. Now they played each other and we saw what happened and we go, now we got a better thing. Arkansas, the Auburn, and Ole Miss went to Oklahoma against a great defense and lit them up. And we go, oh, okay. Now we have an understanding. And that's what we want because we're going to bet teams based on who they are and we can't get fooled. Right? We got fooled on Miami, Atlanta yesterday because Atlanta, apparently Penix was lying and he wasn't going to play, but he was never listed as doubtful. Kirk Cousins comes in and apparently is the worst quarterback in the game ever. To light up Miami with a 30 defense for 10 points tells you how bad he is. Can't read a defense, obviously can't throw, is not a leader. It's just terrible quarterback. Atlanta would be better just cutting him, letting him go back to the Krogers and working. But that's what we learned. We can only trust Penix. We can't trust Cousins, which we wouldn't have, but we thought that he was playing. But that's what you see. You're really trying to get to who the team is. And there's certain games. Cincinnati, you're just going to bet them over with Flacco. You're not going to trust them. Same with Dallas. They're not a good team. They have no defense. Pittsburgh, they're not a good team. They have no defense. If you have no defense, you can't bet them. You can only bet them over. So as we get into the season, now we start seeing it. And then we got to look at injuries. Wait, the quarterback's out, or this guy's out, or CD Lamb's out. And then we got to play them a little different. We have to adjust for the injury. But we must know, who are we betting on? What is the team? An A team, a Z team. So in gold, we must know that it hasn't even started yet. You see, it all comes circle. It hasn't even started yet. So therefore, we don't really know what the heck's going on. But gold's going to be much, much higher. That's what I know, because you have to get out of dollars, yuan, yen, British pounds, all that. And once that happens, it's sort of like on the Titanic. Nobody believed the ship was sinking because it was unsinkable. And people go, it can't sink. It's unsinkable. It hit an iceberg. Yeah, the water's coming in, but it can't sink. Somehow it won't sink. And then it goes down. And at the last half hour, when everybody realized it was sinking, you had the frenzy to the lifeboats, but there wasn't enough lifeboats. And that's what you're going to have with gold. You'll have the frenzy once people, the dollar won't collapse, realizes the dollar is collapsing, they'll run into gold, and then you'll have this frenzy into gold. And that's when gold's going to be 15, 20,000. So you're not going to worry about this little bullshit paper mirage that's happening the last few days. It's just bullshit. It's to either get you to sell and buy stocks, or it's so somebody can buy gold cheaper. which is probably my guess. Anyway, so let's look at this. So this is the mafia guy talking to the bookie. The bookie got the hat on about Shotani's handler, who's the interpreter, who stole all the money from Shotani. And Shotani's apparently a 2-year-old who can't keep track of his own finances and trusts the interpreter. Like, is this guy for real? Is he like an idiot? I'm going to trust my interpreter? I ain't trusting anybody. No. I'll handle my own money. Thank you very much. All right. So here we go.
Yeah.
Trump's in your pocket. You're in Trump's pocket. Okay. Move on.
They're great at creating stuff, though. You got to give them credit. These
Yeah.
keyboard warriors. I don't know, like, what's in their mind, or they're obviously miserable in their own lives. That's why they're doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get to obviously the big conversation
Sure.
with Otani.
Yeah.
And I think I started telling you earlier, I had a camera crew and a media outlet come from Japan to talk to me about Otani. And I said, well, let me get this straight for you first. I'm not a Dodger fan.
Right.
I don't like the Dodgers, only because as a kid growing up, they were from Brooklyn. When they left Brooklyn,
Yeah.
all I heard was those effing Dodgers.
Of course.
So I became a Yankee fan. I've been a diehard Yankee fan, especially after what happened.
Oh, and he had
hate them
Mickey
more.
Mantle, too.
But they started asking me about Otani. And I said, look, I don't know anything about this. I don't know what he did, what he didn't do. I have no idea.
Sorry, it's
I
so
said, I would
dark.
hope that he didn't get involved because he's a tremendous ball player. That's
That's
all
right.
I have to say. So maybe you can enlighten us.
Yeah. So I met Ipe. Well, let me backpedal. Was pretty close with some Angels baseball players, playing golf with them, hanging out with them, going to spring training, going to casinos even with them. And so we would gamble on the golf course and built a good relationship with a few guys. And then they would say, hey, we're playing the Padres tonight, come down. So I drove to San Diego, went to the game. After the game, we went to the team hotel, and then a private poker game with the first base coach, the third base coach, several players. Ipe was there. And Ipe was...
Ipe, by the way, is the interpreter for Otani.
Yes.
A few others or just Otani?
Well, just Otani at that time. They were like best friends. But Ipe Mizuhara was the interpreter, and
With
he
friends
was there.
like that, you got
Shohei
big
Ohtani
problems.
was not at the poker game. And so a friend of mine was there, and I was in the poker game, and he's sitting next to me, and Ipe is on his phone, and he was putting in some sports bets. And a friend of mine says, Matt does that, and it looks like you're started asking a few questions, and obviously he was on like a post-up account where you had to put on the credit card and all that hassle. And as you know, betting with a bookmaker, there's no more convenient way to bet sports. So he says, he can help you out. So we started a relationship. It was $1,000 a game and an $8,000 credit line. And within 3 weeks, he owed $300,000. I mean,
Was he betting on baseball?
He never made one wager in almost 20 months on a baseball bet ever. So to his credit, he knew not to do that. Thank God, because that could have made all of this even more sticky. And as you said, I have a admiration for Shohei Ohtani beyond belief. I mean, I think he's unlike any human being ever. So I never really wanted all of this to happen. I mean, clearly, he has sadly a little taboo to his name the rest of his life, even though he did nothing.
Yes.
So, and that's sad. I feel a part of that. But he's clearly getting past it by just putting up the most amazing numbers ever. That being said, Ipe owed $300,000. He kept asking for more credit. I felt pretty comfortable knowing he's the, interpreter, even though interpreters don't make that kind of money. So he wires a $300,000, and I didn't even know who the wire came from. Didn't even look, because I was moving these wires throughout other people for obvious reasons. I was debanked, and I, clearly don't have a Chase or a Bank of America account anymore. All that's been done a long time ago. So the wire comes in, and he asks for more credit. I open him up to $500,000. He blows that within a week. So he wires $500,000. So a friend of mine calls me and says, are you sitting down? And I said, yeah, why, what's up? He says, the wire transfer just came in from Shohei Ohtani. And in my mind, I said, holy fuck. Like, I am in a position where, of course, the greed side of me is like, there's unlimited funds, and this guy can't win. He's a terrible gambler. Just lost $800,000 in, 5 weeks or whatever it was. And I'm thinking to myself, that's great. But the flip side is now I have the most famous baseball player really ever betting through me and sending wires.
And at that point, you didn't know if it was Shohei.
I had no
working
idea.
Through him or whatever.
Yeah. And to be honest, after $800,000 just got wired from that name, I probably thought in my mind,
Sure.
it's probably Shohei. But frankly, there was no baseball bets, and, I didn't care. I'm greedy, and I'm running a business, and I'm providing a service, and I didn't think anything of it, right?
Just want people to know, 800,000 that he lost. What were your expenses on that 800,000?
Uh, minimal, to $20 maybe.
That's why we become bookmakers.
Exactly. I mean, the per head site was maybe $20, right?
Yeah.
And I did have an agent on the account that I gave a very good portion to, so there's an expense there. But at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. The expenses are absolutely nothing.
I'll tell you why I said that. When what was it? What was the term that they used? When legalized betting came into New York, off-track betting.
Okay.
You know, the feds came to me and a couple of guys. And they said, "We're going to put you out of business. Off-track betting." I said, "Yeah, watch." They increased our business because what happens? They go there, they got to put down a credit card, they got to pay up front, they lose to OTB, and then they come and gamble with us to try to make that up. Well, eventually, just to show you how smart the state is, off-track betting went bankrupt.
Wow.
And they increased our business.
Of course.
Because more people would gamble that weren't ever gambling with a
Correct.
bookmaker.
Because now it's legal, and that's what's happening now. That you're correct. So, you know, let's just say you're a small gambler and you want to just put $1,000 in an account, you got to use your credit card. A lot of times it gets declined because it doesn't see it. You know, I think it's a fraud. And then you fund the account, and then sometimes it doesn't load till the next day. And then if you win, the withdrawal process is a pain in the neck, and then you got to report it to the IRS. You beat me. So my guy's at your door on Monday with cash. There's nothing to talk about, no explanation. In fact, my guy will drive, when I was doing this, would drive to your work, your office, wherever you want, to your grandma's house, put it under a rug. It doesn't matter. You know this. It's the most convenient. We made it so easy for you. There's no reason to bet.
And I got to tell you this, people, if I start gambling again, it'll be with a bookmaker. I don't go through this stuff. Anyway, go ahead.
100%.
Exactly.
And so would all of you.
Exactly. So moral of the story is, you know, I have Shohei Ohtani's name, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, man, I don't know if this is good and bad, right? So what do I do with this? And there's nothing I can do. I'm balls deep at this point. I got 2 wires for 800,000. Guys gambling with me. I look at the account; he's already down another 200,000. So he keeps asking for more credit, and I never asked him who it was. Didn't want to know because
You refuse.
right. And people ask me all the time, how did you give $40 million credit to an interpreter? I said, well, because I didn't care who it was. It could have been the interpreter's grandma for all that matters. The wires were coming. I was getting paid. We were both happy with the services.
Okay, that's bullshit. First of all, there's no way an interpreter has $40 million or $1 million. So it was clearly Shotani who was betting. And to not contact Shotani to tell him, are you betting with me? I'm getting all these wires from you. Either it was Shotani or he's the stupidest man in the world that his interpreter can steal all this money from Shotani. And he wouldn't notice. He doesn't notice his bank account. Who doesn't look at their bank account? I don't care if it's $1 million or $100. You check your bank account. You want to see if there's a problem. He didn't check to say, this is an interpreter. This is not his financial person. This is not his accountant. This is his interpreter. So you're telling me Shotani didn't look at the account? Bullshit. You're telling me he didn't bet and didn't know what was going on? Bullshit. I don't buy anything this guy's saying. I didn't care. Oh, yes, you do. You want to know where the money's coming from, especially as a bookie. If the guy's wiring you 500,000, you know he doesn't make 500,000. He's an interpreter. Probably makes 50,000 a year. Are you kidding me? So you're not going to ask the question. You're not going to contact Shotani and say, are you betting here? You better be careful because you're not allowed to bet. Now, he says most of the bets were soccer. I don't know if I believe it, but that's what he's saying. And I believe probably most of it was baseball. Again, you've got to know if you can trust this guy or not. And this guy sounds very shady, so I don't trust anything he says. I think it was Shotani, and I think it was baseball bets. But we don't have proof of anything. Except for the interpreter who makes $50,000 a year, apparently has $500,000 and $40 million, and you're gonna give this guy credit for $40 million and he makes $50,000 a year. Yeah, I don't buy any. So he's obviously either stealing the money or Shotani. Very easy. All right.
Were provided. He never complained. If you go look at the text messages, which the federal government released all of them between him and I, every one, because they have my phone. And it says in there, he makes fun of himself, as I have as a gambler. He
Oh,
says, I'm terrible
bullshit.
with this. Can you give me another 500,000? And I laugh, with him, and I say, I get it. I'm a junkie too,
Okay, does that make any sense to anybody? I'm terrible at it. I'm going to lose 500 grand. I don't make 500 grand. I'm going to steal it from Shotani. And this guy's going to say, yeah, bullshit. You want to make sure you can get paid before you give the credit. And you got to think 2 and 2. Wait a minute. This guy, if there was a kid at the club who wanted to bet football, I don't book, I just handicap, but he wanted to bet me. Let's bet $1,000. This is a lifeguard who makes $10 an hour. I'd be like, where are you going to get the money from to pay me off? And he comes up with $1,000 to pay me. And I'd be like, really curious, like, where are you getting this money from? How this guy didn't ask that question is pure, pure bullshit. Notice how the onions work. I very rarely have hacked. So that the whole nasal infection's gone because I put the onions on my feet, warmed the bed with socks, and now I haven't hacked all weekend. It's just amazing. All right, anyway, this doesn't make sense. This is like JP Morgan. So Madoff had his account at JP Morgan, and it was billions of dollars. And JP Morgan never asked the question, where are you getting the money from? Or I got to monitor the account. And then at the end, Madoff calls JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, and says, pull your money out. I'm going to go and talk to the feds, and I'm going to close this out. So get your money out now. So don't tell me this shit. I mean, come on, we're not idiots. Clearly, Ohtani was betting and knowing about it. Clearly, for him to not say it is bullshit.
I was. And so we would joke about it. And to be honest, he might lose 500,000. I probably lost 2 million that week. So it was just like aiding and abetting my problems. And long story short, he ended up blowing more and more and got to a point where I cut him off at 24 million. People ask me all the time, why was that the number? Because it would have been 100 million if I allowed it. So I just said, ePay 24 is the number every time you send me a wire transfer.
So wait a minute. He's greedy and lets it happen, but then cuts him off at 24 million, not taking 100 million. This guy's full of shit.
I'll credit the account, and then you can play with that money. I would open it up. So he would send me 500,000, and I would let him play it, and he'd lose it within 2 days. It was bananas. I started feeling bad for him. I mean, at the end of the day,
Okay, nobody bets like that. If it's his money, nobody loses 200 grand in a day. He's an interpreter. He doesn't have money. He's losing 200 grand in a day or 300 grand in a day. And give me more money. Give me more money. Nobody does that unless he's stealing the money from Shotani, or it's Shotani himself betting, which is what it sounds like.
People to win sometimes, you know this, right? They just lose. They go away. So he had some weeks where he won 4.5 million, some big weeks, but because his balance was so high, he was always chasing his tail with me. So I was able to kind of relax. And after
What was he betting on?
soccer,
Soccer?
Oh, it was crazy. 80%
Bullshit,
of the bets were
baseball.
soccer. And Michael, the countries he was betting on, I couldn't even tell you where they're located. It was wild. And
Okay, so let's just think this is real. So you're betting on Trinidad and Tobago or whatever, 300,000 for a soccer game. Does this make any sense to anybody in our family? No, it doesn't make any sense. You're not betting that much on soccer on teams that nobody knows. Are you kidding me? This is just bullshit. This is either money laundering or this is Shotani betting baseball, and he's just trying to cover it up by saying he's betting soccer. This makes zero sense.
Throughout the night. When I say I couldn't even find him on websites to find up the score.
Really?
I would wake up. One night I woke up, he won 4.6 million in soccer in the middle of the night. And I was like, holy shit, this is, if he catches a heater, he can win 10, 12 million, right? But then you end up losing it back the next day or two. But I was just baffled by the amount of bets he put in. I don't know if you saw, it was 19,000 something bets.
Yeah.
$326 million in wagers. I mean, that is absurd. That's a full-time job.
Yeah.
To put that many bets in 18 months.
The crazy thing is, how did, well, that shouldn't be said, not notice that the money was missing, Tony's account. I can understand that. But how did he not realize that this guy was a degenerate gay? Yeah.
If you're looking to upgrade your heating system this fall or winter, then this is hands down the system you need to be looking at. These new
Realize that this guy was a degenerate gay. Yeah.
Well, here's the parts that.
So let me answer this first too, before I answer that. So he paid the whole 24 million though.
He didn't. No, he paid a total of 16.2.
So he still owed you money.
24 million right now.
He owes you 24 million right now.
Yeah, and the only reason why it was 16.2 is because he's very honorable. Clearly, he paid every dollar he could when the wires came in. So I figured it out. I think I figured it out.
Okay, but where did he get the money from? Shotani. He's an interpreter. He doesn't make $20 million. And if he did, he's not gambling on soccer games that nobody knows what the country is. What a bunch of bullshit this is.
I believe that the account he had access to was the Angels' salary, which if you go back and look at what he was making, it was that in that realm. The big account he had was endorsements, where I believe that he had no access to clearly. Because he would say to me, hey, I can send you a wire, but I need another week. And I think he would wait for the paycheck to come in, to be honest, the wire from the Angels.
Yeah.
And then he would wire it and pay it down and gamble. So I never busted his balls really until he kind of got a little dark at the end. And that's when there's a text message that says, ironically, literally across the street is where he lived in these Fashion Item villas. I said, one of my friends lives in there, and he was walking his dog. Shohei Ohtani was. My friend texted me and says, hey, I see Shohei walking his dog. He goes, do you want me to go up and talk to him? And the reason he said that is because he knew that the interpreter was not responding to me. And so I texted Ipe at that moment and said, hey, I acted like it was me. I said, I'm here at Fashion Item Villas. Do you want me to go up and say something to Shohei? And then boom, he responded real quickly, of course, which is all I wanted. Just, as you know, communicate, work it out. But he was a little dark at that moment because, I think the money was running, thin. And I think he was tired of, which we all get tired of losing. I mean, he's lost so much. But the moral of the story is that this money was all Angels money. I'm almost positive. And then the other money was, endorsements. And if you go back and look at the time frames of the wires and when it was happening, it all made sense to me. But I didn't ask, didn't know. And, here we are, poor guys in Pennsylvania prison. And I feel terrible because
He got 4 years, right?
he got, just over 4. And it's sad because had I known, I would have cut it sooner. I would have never, as greedy as I am, I'm human. You know this. Bookmakers don't want to bury people. We want to
Not at
make
all,
money.
yeah.
You're running a business. I had no idea that he was stealing the money, but I was happy to take it. So I don't want to act like I'm an angel. It's not like I still would have took it, but I would have managed it better and helped him and provided a better service to where it was more entertainment. So I feel like I failed here clearly by not asking more questions and being more involved, because other customers, I would stop them from burying themselves and getting in a bad situation. I think the talent that I had as a bookmaker was having a relationship to where if I can keep me as number one on the payment structure, because to me, a true gambler is like this. They pay bookmaker, rent, bills, family, food, etc. And they'll continue.
What a bunch of horror shit. You pay rent first, food, take care of the family, then you pay your bookie. And if you're like us, the bookie pays us. We don't pay the bookie. That's what I've taught myself is how to win, so I don't have to pay the bookie, so he pays me. This is horseshit. This guy's lying through his teeth. So let me guess this. Satani gets a salary from the California Angels, and the guy steals it and pays off that. So Satani never asks for money. He never says, let me see, did I get my paycheck? He doesn't ask those questions. Come on. That's just curiosity that anybody would ask is, did I get my paycheck? Or, yeah, I trust the guy so much as he's stealing from me. Nobody trusts anybody. If I had Bobby get my paychecks, I would go, Bobby, did I get my paycheck today? Show me. And not only that, I would go into my bank and I'd say, well, here's my bank, Wells Fargo, pop it in. There's my paycheck. There's my balance. I'm looking at it every day, especially if I'm not the one involved with it. But why is your interpreter in charge of your bank, your bank and your paychecks? Your interpreter, not your accountant, your interpreter. This is such horseshit. Shotani clearly bet. He clearly knew what was going on. The interpreter, give me $5 million. That's Shotani just asking for more credit, betting baseball. He's going to bet soccer games from countries that nobody knows how to pronounce them. What kind of horseshit is that? I'm sure he's betting on the baseball games and doing that, but this guy's going to say, oh, no, he didn't bet on baseball. Bullshit, he didn't bet on baseball. If you believe that, I got oceanfront property in Detroit here. So this guy's clearly lying through his teeth. He's a very bad liar because it doesn't make sense because we can smell it out because we're gamblers, right? We bet football. If all of a sudden I had an interpreter and I'm not looking at my pay stubs, I made $2 million this week. I'm not looking at that. I'm not looking at my bank balance. You fucking kidding me? We all look at our bank balance. I looked at my PayPal go into my bank. People pay me on PayPal, right? And then I transfer it into my bank. First thing I'm doing is looking, did it hit my bank? And what's my balance? Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, fine. Don't tell me this guy Shotani is so stupid. He doesn't look at his bank balance. He doesn't verify he got his paycheck. He doesn't, and then he's a massive gambler. And then the bookie itself makes no sense. Well, yeah, I didn't know who he was getting all this money because he is an interpreter, and yeah, they all make $10 million to be interpreters. I mean, come on. At best, he's making 50, 60,000 to be the interpreter, and he's betting hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, and the bookie's fine with that? Bullshit. No. You don't. You got to know, can the guy pay me? And if the guy wires me this money, what do you do for a living? I'm an interpreter. And how much do you make? Oh, 50,000. And you're wiring me in 800,000, and you're betting 300,000 a day, every day, and you're losing within 2 days. And then you put in the money, and then you say to me, well, I'm an idiot. Man, the red flags are going through the roof. The fireworks. Something's wrong here. So, was Shotani really this stupid and didn't know what was going on, or was Shotani the one making the bets on baseball? My money is he knew, and he was the one making the bets on baseball.
To feed that addiction, as long as they can do all that, right? The minute that they can't pay and feed their family and etc., the bookmaker drops down to number dead last, unless there's added pressure, right? So I always tried to keep myself in the top three by allowing them to be entertaining and not a problem. Mm-hmm. And it's hard because they're lying to you. I'm guilty of the same things. I'll tell whatever to get down on games or
see, he's a liar, right?
Just see one action. So you have to feed through that. But once you get to know them and you know kind of what they do for a living, it's easier to do that. So I had some good relationships.
Was he the one did he lead them to you?
No. In fact, it was the opposite.
Really?
He's the one person that I did technically cooperate against. And I'll tell you why. I wouldn't, when they came and raided me and took my phones, etc., there was no word of Shohei Ohtani in my phone. Never spoke to him. So never said his name. So they had no idea. But ESPN came to my home in January. I was raided in October. The reporter, Tisha Thompson, literally came to my home in California and sat down and wanted to have a story. And I entertained hearing what she had to say because I was concerned. Because I did tell people, not the whole world, but I did tell people I had some, athletes, etc. And I was worried that she had some information, which I was right. So when she came, she said, we're running a story. We know that Shohei Ohtani was betting through your website. And I said, oh, holy shit. Now I have a really big problem. So I immediately contacted my attorney. We went in and spoke to the federal government and told them first, because I didn't want them to be told by somebody else as opposed to me. And to be honest, I'd rather be upfront with them as opposed to getting more trouble.
This is the guy that
So I'm
lies
getting
and
some
cheats.
sort of credit, let's call it, for that. But I would never be a rat or go and so I didn't tell them initially. But yeah, that's exactly what happened.
And then they found out that where he was getting his money, obviously.
Yeah, they immediately did their homework and
It wasn't hard to figure out.
no, it's easy. You know how this works. They have access to everything. If they want you, you're toast anyway. And nowadays, there's a camera / everything everywhere. So that's why the mafia is, I'm not going to say non-existent, as you know, but it's
Hurt bad because of that, no doubt. Let me ask you this:
The
without
mafia
mentioning
runs
names,
the banks.
you have a lot of athletes gambling.
yeah. I had quite a few. I probably had 15 to 20. Yeah.
So if you are between the ages of 50 and 85 and you want to have all of your
I probably had 15 to 20. Yeah.
I want to present this to you. I always said, and I had experience with this, that Michael Jackson had a terrible gambling problem.
Sure.
Gambles on everything. He just can't do anything without gambling.
Right.
But then I listened to the
Michael Jordan, not Michael
documentary
Jackson.
that they did on him. And they asked him, Michael, you have a gambling problem? He said, no, I don't. What do you mean? You gamble on everything. He said, yeah, I have a competition problem.
Oh, Michael Jordan.
What did I say?
Yeah, you said Jackson. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Michael Jordan.
People, that was Michael Jordan, not Michael
Yeah.
Jackson. Michael Jordan. He said, I have a competition problem. And I thought about it for a minute. And I said, you know what? In his case, it's true.
Yep.
Because he never gets in trouble. He can cover all his bets. It doesn't
unlimited
change
funds.
his lifestyle.
Mhm.
He's got unlimited funds.
Correct.
So for him, it's competition.
Right.
But for most other people, it's not.
Totally.
But I say that, yeah, if you can cover your bets and it's not changing your lifestyle, it's not putting you in trouble or anything, well, then, yeah, it's a competition problem, especially with athletes.
Right.
But I'll tell you, I saw Michael once. I was doing the NBA. We had a rookie presentation program. The head of security, Horace Balmer, was playing table tennis with Michael, right? Horace is in a warm-up suit. Michael is playing. Michael challenges him.
Okay.
Of course, they play. They play for $5.
Okay.
Right? Michael wins everything. He goes up to Horace. He said, give him my $5. And Horace said, well, I got my warm-up suit on. My money's in my room. He said, go get it. Michael tells him,
Wow.
right? Now I'm watching this.
Uh-huh.
I said, wow, this is intense. Let
Yeah.
me see what happens here. So Horace comes down, opens the door. Michael's there. He says, here you go, Michael. He says, Michael, $5? Michael takes it and he said, yeah, this is my trophy. I beat you. Puts it in his pocket and walks away. That's the mentality.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Sure.
Raises the stake in the competition
It
and
does.
just makes it more competitive. I get it with athletes. Why so many of them enjoy it.
Yeah, what a bunch of bullshit. Michael Jordan's just an asshole, right? He went to play baseball because he had to, because he was fixing games. That's why he played baseball for 2 years. But he didn't want to tell that part of the story. So it's total bullshit. Shotani didn't know that his friend was stealing from him. He doesn't check his bank account, and he's the interpreter, not the accountant. What? I don't buy any of it. I don't buy he was betting. Can you even bet soccer? Do these countries that you can't even name have soccer teams? And there's lines on these soccer teams, and where the fuck are you getting the lines from on Ishkabibble against Johannesburg South? And you're gonna lay 2 goals, and you're gonna, bunch of horseshit. You probably couldn't bet more than $500 on it because these are things. And why would anybody bet that? Unless they're fixed, you're not betting. The whole thing makes no. You're going to bet soccer from countries that we can't pronounce and we don't know where they are, but yet you're going to lose 200,000-300,000 on it. Bullshit. Shotani was the one betting, and that's why the guy, he was betting for Shotani, and he gave him 200,000-300,000 because Shotani didn't care, and he was clearly betting on baseball because you're not betting Indonesian soccer. Give me a fucking break. So anyway, that they're bullshitting. This is why you got to be careful who you listen to and who you trust. The other guy's a mafia guy. So yeah, but the bookie, you can't trust the bookie. He says he lies all the time and he wants the money. And he did question $500,000. Where are you getting it from? Really? That's bullshit. It's just something that you would do with anything. Anytime you're giving credit for 400 or 500,000 and you're getting wires in, and you ask, what do you do? And the guy says, I'm an interpreter and I make 50 grand a year. Where are you getting the 500? Where are you getting 500,000 from? And then he finds out it's Shotani and he doesn't talk to Shotani. Shotani, I'm getting, you're giving me, are you betting with me for 500,000? You better be careful because they'll throw you in jail and you'll never play baseball again. No, I wouldn't ask him. Yeah, bullshit, you would ask him. So this guy is full of shit. I'll have to put a comment in. Anyway, let's check our gold and before we leave. And it's up to 39.93, having a bullshit day. Silver 46.71. So this is pure bullshit. Nobody from 2:00 in the morning till noon, I guarantee you nobody sold an ounce of gold. And even if they do, it wouldn't make this price drop. This price only can drop with options. Got nothing to do with somebody selling gold. Even if everybody sold a ton of gold, it would not lower the price because the price is not based on the free market on supply and demand. It is based on options. It's Eddie Murphy. I'm selling the option. That's how this price is taken. It's paper price. It's bullshit. Talk about the mafia. Yeah, the mafia runs the banks. We all know that. JP Morgan is the mafia. They run the banks. They run the government. That's what's happening here. So don't be naive. 39.93 is a bullshit price. Even when it was 4,300 was a bullshit price. It's a paper price. We want a physical price. We assume the physical price is 10 times more. So it's about 40,000. That's what we assume minimal price 10 times off the paper price. And if you can do that, then you're way ahead of the game. And then you start realizing what you're going after. So we're going after 39,000 with 3,900. We're going after $500 silver with $46. That's what that's the game we're playing. And you're just hearing all this with the mafia guy and this bookie guy, and you can see what's happening. But that's what's happening. Shut the fuck up. I don't even answer my phone anymore unless it's like Alyssa or Daria or somebody. If it's just a number, it's mostly a Ponzi scheme or it's a spam or whatever it is. All right. Any other questions, comments? I hope you enjoyed that. It's all pure fairy tale. Shotani was involved. He can't possibly be this stupid that this guy is going to steal. I mean, just listen to it. Oh, yeah, I lost 300,000 in 2 days. I'll get more and bet that. So he wasn't worried about getting caught. He wasn't worried Shotani would look at his bank account and realize 300,000 was just wired out. He didn't get a wire. This is your interpreter, not your accountant. Nobody's looking at his bank account. Nobody's seeing the confirmation wire of 300,000 every 2 days. Bullshit. This guy's full of bullshit. Moral of the story is you must be careful who you're listening to. When we look at Jim Rickards or we look at Peter, what's his name? Peter Cottontail, Peter Schiff, they don't know what they're talking about. So we automatically hear them and we ignore them. The guy on Mark McGuire on Friday, we automatically ignore him. Some of these other Milton Armstrong, he's a Ponzi schemer. Robert Kiyosaki did a Ponzi scheme, went to jail for it. You're going to trust these guys? No, you can't listen to them. So you immediately know, no, I can't trust him. I can't trust him. I don't want to listen to him. Boom, boom, boom. We give you Egon because he knows, and then you have everything from me. That's the key to it. Can I trust the person giving me the information, and does the information make sense? Oh, inflation is the CPI and the price is going up. No, it's not. So if you get a guy telling you that, you automatically turn it off or walk away knowing, no, inflation's money printing. It's the increase in the money supply, making the dollar worthless. That's what inflation is. It's as simple as that. That's where you go with it. All right, with that, I bid you a fond farewell. I didn't play the game tonight, KC. I would have played Washington with Daniels, but possibly an under because you got Mariota and KC's going to eat him alive. But I did not play the game, just an FYI. So pretty good weekend. 13-3 in college and 6-3 in the pros. 3-1 in my locks in pros. 1-1 in my locks in college. Pretty good. Again, I'm playing the locks in at least two teasers. So each win is worth 2. So anyway, and that's what's it. We lost against the Jets. It was amazing. But we had reasons why we bet. We bet against the Jets. They lost. We bet against Miami. We lost. Everything else, we took New England, really betting against Cleveland. They were a terrible road dog. And so that's what we're doing. Anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. I will see you tomorrow. If you need me, email me. And if anybody wants, just come on in and chat like Prophet does, and David and Ryan, Mr. Crazy, and feel free, Bobby, when he's around, and that's it. All right. Well, have a good day, everybody. Enjoy. Don't worry about gold. It'll be 5,000 very soon. We're in October. When we get near December, it's going to really go. All right. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Take care.